Yeah.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The hour cometh, and now is when we gather together to share our healing, our knowledge, our faiths, our love. We welcome Spirit into the sacred place of our spiritual awakenings. We welcome all beings that come from the divine, holy light. We come to experience unconditional love, non-judgment, and oneness. We ask to share with the world that glorious awareness of universal peace, peace, peace. And now for the lighting of the candles, I would like to ask Tracy, can you assist us with the lighting of the candles? Wonderful.
Excuse me, Grandma.
As we light the candles, may He who is our Father for the Christians, God for the Hebrews, Allah for the Muslims, Buddha for the Buddhists, Goddess for the Wiccans, Great Spirit for the Native Americans. May that all-powerful and all-knowing being, whom we all recognize as the God Force, give peace to all and unite our hearts in spiritual unity. Good evening and welcome. My name is Jean Gooslin. I am one of your Interfaith Ministers training candidates here at the church. I'm very excited to be part of that program. I'm also High Priestess of Covenant of the Raven Moon, and I serve on the board here as Vice President. This is maybe the 5th or 6th time that I've had the opportunity to speak to the congregation in this forum. And I'm really excited about doing it tonight because we have a few different issues and things going on to address and bring in. So as opposed to being one rigid theme all the way through, it's going to be a little buffet of light and knowledge and love and healing. The first thing that I want to address that is coming is the new moon, and we had our new moon drumming circle today here at the church. That's something new that we're implementing. That happens before service on the Sunday that falls in the new moon phase. It's run by John Lundy. It's a fantastic program, and it's a great way to raise energy and to come together. So let's think about what the theme of that new moon is that brings. The new moon is all about new beginnings. And in order for new beginnings to manifest, positive new creative things to move into our life, it's also a time of ridding oneself of that which no longer serves them. It's a healthy flow and balance of energy and life. So it is celebrating the endings of the old and the beginning of the new as the moon rejuvenates itself as the wheel of the year turns. And we have that new moon upon us. So keeping our focus there now can help bring about those energies and those changes and those occurrences in our life. At this time, I would like to read an opening prayer. And a prayer that I like very much is right here in our purple books. And it is on page 16 for anyone who may want to follow along. And this is the Lord's Prayer. I was introduced to this version of the Lord's Prayer by Reverend Bonnie Nahorn, who will be joining us again very soon. And it is directly translated from the original Aramaic version. So if it's a little bit different than what you're used to hearing, that's the explanation and that is why. But this is that rendition of the Lord's Prayer. O Birther, Father, Mother of the Cosmos, you create all that moves in the light. Focus your light within us. Make it useful, as the rays of a beacon show the way. Create your reign of unity now, through our fiery hearts and willing hands. Your one desire then acts without. As in all, so in all forms. Grant what we need this day in our bread and insight. Sustenance for the call of growing life. Loose the cords of mistakes binding us as we release the strands we hold of others' guilt. Don't let surface things delude us, but free us from what holds us back from our true purpose. From you is born all ruling will, the power and the life to do, the song that beautifies all. From age to age it renews. Truly power to these statements. May they be the source from which all actions grow, sealed in trust and faith. Amen. So in spirit of that, I'm a very musical person, and I like the sermons to have a lot of songs in them. So we have another treat today. Not only will we have the regular 2 selections to sing along with, that you got the lyrics from the podium coming in. We also have our wonderful David, who blesses us with great, great music. And he's going to play a little energy balancing, clearing, and calming music before meditation. But then we'll play a recorded selection so that you can join us for meditation as well and benefit from it. But we're going to go ahead and sing our first song now, if we want everybody up on their feet. This one is the Enya song, and the lyrics, The Only Time. And it refers to time changing and bringing about new things and not knowing what the future holds. So it's a very uplifting and optimistic song to me. I'm going to come down there.
What song is it?
Only Time by Enya.
I thought you said onions.
Onions. It's the Onion song. Yay! Me. Who can say where the road goes, where the day goes? Only time. And who can say if your love grows as your heart shows? Only time. don't sit down while we're standing up. We're going to take advantage of it. And now is when we will partake in our prosperity invocation. So we're all going to face the east. This is also in the purple book if you're not familiar with it. It is page 8. And the prosperity invocation is said 4 times. Once for the body, once for the mind, once for the spirit, and once in plural for the church. I am open and ready to receive all the wonders of the universe. As my prosperity increases each and every day and in each and every way, I thank you, God, for all that you have given to me and for all that you are preparing for me now. I am open and ready to receive all the wonders of the universe. As my prosperity increases each and every day and each and every way, I thank you, Lord, for all that you have given to me and for all that you are preparing for me now. I am open and ready to receive all the wonders of the universe. As my prosperity increases each and every day and each and every way, I thank you, Lord, for all that you have given to me and all that you are preparing for me now. We are open and ready to receive all the wonders of the universe. As our prosperity increases each and every day and each and every way, we thank you, God, for all that you have given to us and for all that you are preparing for us now. Take a big, deep breath of that wonderful blessing, prosperity, energy. Take it into you, own it. Carry it with you. Share it with the lives that you touch and come in contact with in the next week. It is all ours. Thank you. Amen. Please. And now that is kind of a good segue to lead into what the bulk of the sermon is going to be about tonight. And that is revisiting and kind of wrapping up a sermon I did a few weeks ago on the physical effects of energy and how they can manifest in our lives. And in order to demonstrate this, we have duplicated an experiment that has become very popular over the last few years. And this experiment was originally done by Dr. Masaru Emoto. And he is a Japanese holistic healer and psychologist. He is known for many experiments with emotion affecting water in various degrees. And he was featured in the 2004 film, What the Bleep Do We Know? So if you want, and it's got some great information in it. That film, it has a really fun way of delivering some very good material. So if it isn't something that you've checked out, do. It's both enlightening and entertaining, so it's fun. It won't waste your time. But in the particular experiment that we're going to talk about that Dr. Emoto did is the rice experiment. And in the rice experiment, he took 3 identical containers, 3 identical amounts of uncooked rice, and 3 identical measurements of water. He sealed them in these jars, and the first time around it was a 30-day experiment. So every day for 30 days, he took each one of the jars into his hand, and he fed it a particular energy. He fed it a particular emotion. And how he delivered this energy was through the audible use of words and language. One jar was labeled, I love you. And that was the message that it was delivered every day, and as heartfelt as possible. The second jar was labeled, I hate you. And that was the message that was delivered to it every day, and as heartfelt as possible. Now the third jar, that one is a variable to be reckoned with. There was nothing on that jar. And not only did he not label it, he fed it no energy of any kind, any of those days. And now this experiment has been repeated a lot of times since his initial trial, and it's been done for varying lengths of time. In doing my research, I found the results on the rice experiment that had been running for as long as 148 days. The particular thing about that, though, is the 148-day results were comparable to the 30-day results. They had just escalated further on. So this particular experiment was put together last week in January. And now we are 3 months later, which is 1 season later, and a quarter of the turn of the wheel of a year. And so that is why I chose this day to review and revisit it. This particular jar is our I Love You jar. And as you can see, the coloring in that jar is still predominantly white. It's gotten a little cloudy in some areas. It's turned a little golden. But it still looks clean. I wouldn't recommend eating it, you know. But, so this is our I Love You jar, and this is the results that we got from that one. Now, I think you'll have to agree that they're very different than the results we got from the I Hate You jar. It's pretty easy to see that the jar has darkened and that there are spots of molding and chunking that are floating around in the fluid and in the rice. And so it's pretty safe to say this guy is in rough shape. Now, do we have a super high-tech Dexter's laboratory out there where everything is kept in optimum conditions and the same? No. We've got the real world out there. We've got life. We've got real people moving in and out. So even though we can't say that the setting that we did this in was hyper scientific, it's still very poignant. The difference is still very clear. And the only difference is the energy that was sent to these two different jars. The energy that we sent through our words and the energy that we sent with our minds and our thoughts. See, many of us here believe, and not just people of my own path, with us being an all-paths church, many of us believe that energy is carried in all that we do, thought, word, and deed. It can be an interesting situation when your words do not reflect your thoughts. It's a conflicted feeling. And then working on inner peace and balance is where we need to rectify that. But to show you what I think is the most startling part of this experiment is to show you the jar that was ignored. Now, that is pretty good backing for the theory that negative attention is better than no attention at all. And we can put that in relation to thinking about not only our own children, but the young people in our life. We need love. We need positive energy fed into us. But even above and beyond needing that love, we need some kind of energy exchange. Another belief here that many of us embrace is that we are not human beings that occasionally engage in a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings that put ourselves into this human experience to learn to connect with each other and to gain virtue, gain wisdom, peace within our soul, and to ascend to the next level of existence and be closer to the divine. Funny thing about lessons, they kind of come the hard way sometimes. I think they're called growing pains for a reason. We learn through experience, and we build our character through that. So keeping in mind this energy experiment, and also understanding that many of us here are far more aware already of energy and the effects of it and what it does, how it affects us and how it affects the people around us. And so that does increase a level of responsibility There's a saying we share a lot: be responsible for the energy that you bring into a room. And this is something that we all have to work on as human beings, because nobody has a great day, day after day. We all meet challenges. There's no faith in the world that's ever going to get you around those. It's just going to be your strongest tool in seeing through them. And your character and how you deal with them and how you deal with the people around you is reflected in those times. So in this exchange of energy, and with us knowing that energy can have a physical effect, learning to focus on the positive in your life is the best way to make that grow and to spread and to touch the lives of others. Does it mean that we ignore that the negative exists? Absolutely not, because it wouldn't make it exist any less. Does it mean that we choose to remove ourselves from those negative situations and connections and to refill those places with things that are more positive, more empowering to you? Yes. Take care of your energy, and then the energy that you share with others is in better health. So a couple of ways to take care of your energy. My favorite way is meditation. Meditation is a great way to ground, to center, to balance, and most importantly, to process out the energy and emotions that we have to deal with as people on a day-to-day basis. To cleanse us, to make us whole again, and to give us a fresh slate to start each day, so that we can do and be the most and the best for ourselves and for the people we love. Another way to practice on bringing more positive energy in your life is a theory or a concept that honestly isn't at all spiritually based, loosely. The law of attraction. Many of us deal with it, work with it, know about it, we're aware of it. We try to implement it in our lives. If you're on the same page with me, you have a really good understanding of how it works. You know that it's foolproof, and you try to incorporate it in your life, and you wish you could incorporate it more. So you're still working on it. It's still a work in progress. That's where I am. So even though we know things to be true, if we don't have them quite mastered yet, go easy on yourself. This whole thing is a learning experience, and we aren't done until we're done, so we're still learning. But the law of attraction states that like attracts like. So what we put out into the universe is exactly what we will draw back into ourselves. So put out the most positive energy that you can, and watch that flow back into your life so that you can use it to heal yourself, to make yourself wiser, and to love and heal and be a support to those around you. In regards to that, too, I want to address the issue that we talk about energy affecting those around us as though we are part of an intricate web. And we really are. A drop of water affects the entire ocean. And a ripple in one of our energy affects us all, directly or indirectly. Everyone has their place in this web. You're always going to meet people that you click with and get along with really well, that it just far supersedes other people. And those are the people to keep close in your life, in your circle, and to be the best for them that you can, and allow them to be the best for you that they're willing to. Other people that we may not click with them so well on a personal level, it doesn't mean that they don't have their value. It doesn't mean they don't have their path. We all have a place, and we all serve an important role. They're just maybe different places with, connections in between. The energy will flow. My energy is not exactly like yours, but as it flows into the person next to us, it becomes part of a greater whole. So the North Pole is important as the South Pole, but they don't belong at the equator. So don't wish ill upon those that you don't feel as much of a closeness as you do, say, your family and your best of friends. Because everybody's energy is of value, and everybody has a place in the intricate web that life is. So as we heal ourselves and we spread healing energy out from us, it will touch the farthest corners, and it will reach places that you can't imagine. So heal yourself from the inside. Be the change that you want to see in the world. If you want to have higher self-esteem, if you want to respect yourself more, decide what you value most in this world and be that. If you have values and if you have morals, get involved in the things that build them and change them and grow them. Each and every one of us here is concerned with the environment and what's happening to Mother Earth. Now, We can meditate together and send out healing energy to Mother Earth all day long, and this will help, believe you me, these jars show it. But you know what else helps? Getting together and cleaning up garbage out of the local park. Putting your booty where your mouth is. Walk your talk. Not when it's easy, when it's necessary, and that's all the time. So be part of the positive. Be part of the movers. Heal yourself and heal those around you. And always be wary that the energy we send out affects the world around us. The energy we send out is the energy we draw back into ourselves. Our coven has a motto. Together, we are part of something greater than the sum of its pieces. Finding that connectivity to build and to heal is very empowering. And based on that, and my sister who I love very much, suggestion, we are going to come into our next song. I'm all about side lessons in my sermons. The side lesson in this one was, how easy is it to say I love you and to put some meaning behind it? How easy is it to say I hate you and put some meaning behind it? That can tell you a lot about yourself. Some people have a really hard time saying I hate you and meaning it. But hate is a deep thing. I love you, I let you go. This is a positive thing. I hate you is not so much. And some people really have a hard time pulling that out, and that's great. If we have a hard time saying I love you, that gives us a little food of thought to think about for ourselves. I've had men in my family, older men, previous generations were a little different, that loved you very much. But was it in their vocabulary a lot? Not so much. So that was a little side experiment with this one. And the side experiment that we have now is to learn to not judge, to not prejudge at all, okay? And why? The name of this band is called Pacifier. Probably not something any of you would have put in your CD player or iPod on your own, but it is beautiful, and it is insightful, and it is very moving. And I'm happy to share that with you today. So that is the second song, and I'm coming down.
Yeah, and we're up.
You had to bring that up.
Nurture heaven and home. Some are fallen, by them driven, to conquer every mountain shown. But I've never crossed the river. Brave the forest, brave the stone, brave the icy winds and fire, braved and beat them on my own, yet I'm helpless by the river. Angel, angel, what have I done? Face the quakes, the wind, the fire, conquered country, crown and throne. Why can't I cross this river? Angel, what have I done? Face the quakes, the wind, the fire, conquered country, crown and throne. Why can't I cross this river? Pain no mind to the battles you've won. To take a lot more than rage and muscle. Open your heart and hands, my son, or you'll never make it over the river. Take a lot more than words and guns. A whole lot more than riches and muscle. The hands of the many must join as one, and together we'll cross the river. Take a lot more than words and guns. A whole lot more than riches and muscle. The hands of the many must join as one, and together we'll cross the river. Nature, nurture, heaven and home. Above all and by them driven, conquer every mountain shown, and together we'll cross the river. Brave the forest, brave the stone, brave the icy winds and fire, brave and beat them on my own, and together we'll cross the river. And together we'll cross the river.
Everyone go ahead and have a seat. I know as much as we stand up and sit down around here, people are afraid to relax until released. But we'll let you go ahead and relax for a moment. I'll address the last thing that I want to touch on today in this service before we move into our meditation, and it is brief. We like to acknowledge and celebrate the holidays and the Sabbaths and the sacred days for all of the many beautiful paths of life that come together here to worship collectively and be part of universal oneness. And as the wheel turns, as we refer to it in the Wiccan faith, we are coming into the Beltane Sabbath. Beltane is called May Day, commonly, and it happens on the 1st of May. It is a time, in fable and tale in the Wiccan faith, it is when the god and the goddess reunite, because it is the beginning of the planting of the seeds of the prosperity and abundance and growth that will happen, leading us into the harvest as the wheel turns and prepares to die and sleep for the winter again. So as we come together into Beltane, in olden traditions, like I kind of come from a farmer maiden family a little bit, and if you've heard of the Beltane fires, and it's really a folkloric thing and widely accepted in America in earlier times to march the livestock or the cattle between the two Beltane fires to bless them, to actually so that they will grow nice and fat before fall in the slaughter and all that fun stuff. But that's kind of more the cycle of life. We do this, we jump the broom, a lot of weddings will begin to happen at this time. It's about coming together, the masculine and the feminine energy, to create life and blessings and abundance and fertility. Our animals will start having lots of litters of babies right now, because energetically that's what's going on with the universe too. There is something that's going on this upcoming Saturday at the church, and it's kind of a surprise that we work together to do as a wonderful thing for everyone. Myself and Kelly Bailey are co-hosting an event. I've rented the church here, and we're co-hosting an open Beltane event. And we are going to have entertainment and bring a passing dish potluck and speakers and vendors and readers. We're going to dance the maypole. We are going to march ourselves through the Beltane fires. I have a portable fire pit at my house that I'm going to bring so that there's the 2 pits for us to march through. Kelly and I will lead the open ritual together. Now this is something that I rented the church to do, but because it's what we believe in and what we value, we're donating a portion of all the proceeds of our raffles and our things that come in at this event right here to this church because it means so very much to us. We'll also be donating a portion of those to Pause for a Cause in Swartz Creek. They help out animals that are stray and need to be rehomed and to avoid euthanization. And a wonderful woman that comes to our church quite frequently here, Angie Thomas, volunteers with that organization and invests her time and her energy. And so in a little celebration of putting our booties where our mouths are and trying to improve the things that we value and uphold, we're going to do that. So everyone is welcome to come, and it is Saturday from noon until 7, and the feast will begin at 4, ritual at 5, and entertainment and all kinds of things going on in between there. But it is something that we're doing to help build and empower the church so that we have a prosperous and fruitful and abundant year. This is a wonderful place of great healing energy that's so needed for so many people. And a lot of us work really hard to build it and to protect it and to have it be an outreach that touches souls that are out there that are still in need and are still searching for a place where they can come together and have fellowship and a spiritual family like we're blessed enough to share here. So that is happening on Saturday, and that's the little tidbit about the Sabbath. So that having been said, and having discussed how crucial meditation is in balancing our energy and filling us with positivity and then clearing us out, we're going to prepare to go into meditation. Before the meditation formal, our great friend and brother David is going to play a musical selection for us that are always beautiful and always moving. And then we will flow into a recorded piece so he can join us as well for meditation.
The name of this piece is I Hear the Music.
praise. Isn't it wonderful that we have somebody that plays that now? I love it. Music is so moving. That's energy moving at you in motions. That's what it feels like. If everyone will rise for me one last time, together we'll say the light invocation and we'll go into meditation. The light invocation, if you're not familiar with it, is also on page 8 in the purple book. And we say this 3 times as well. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I am a clear and perfect channel. Light is my guide. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I am a clear and perfect channel. Light is my guide. I invoke the light of the Christ within. I am a clear and perfect channel. Light is my guide. Everybody is seated and we'll start the music again. gently come back here. Raise myself legs. This is guesswork for me every time. Awesome. Prayer is when we talk to God, God's Spirit. Meditation is when we quiet ourselves and we listen. And in quieting and listening, we will all receive messages, impressions, images, feelings, sounds. So this is the time where we share positive messages that you may have received during meditation. Or if you received images that you'd like help understanding or deciphering. If you feel comfortable receiving messages, they'll be delivered to you. If not, feel free to say no, or feel free to say, I'd rather talk to someone privately afterward, because that is fine as well. So first, before we move on, is there anyone in the congregation who received a message or something in meditation that they would like to share or discuss?
First of all, Amy, I want to say thank you for that sermon. It was very, very good. I was always brought up knowing that thoughts are things, and my parents always said, be very, very careful with what you think and what you put out, because eventually it'll come back and get you in your rear end. So I believe that wholeheartedly. Beautiful song, great song. And while you were playing, I was kind of meditating, and I saw you all dressed up in a tuxedo and a baby grand piano, and you had this beautiful orchestra behind you, and you were just playing, and you were up and over the mountains and twirling all around. It was just gorgeous. So that's what I got for you. And Connie, what I got for you, I looked down, and for some odd reason, I don't know why, but you had a pair of glasses, but you wanted to read something, so you flipped them up. You not the whole glass, it was just, you know how like a sunglass when you just flip on, you flip them when you don't need them, flip them back down when you do? It was that kind of a glass. That kind of glass. I have no idea, but that's what I saw. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from our congregation visitors? Raven?
Yes, I didn't get this in meditation, and you kind of stole my line.
Oh,
I
sorry.
think you did a very good job tonight, Morgana, and I'm very proud.
Thank you so much. I hear Aubrey, she got great things in meditation, I promise. That baby, she got it all. Josh? He took notes.
As we, the gods of all, speak to you in the call, we gift you for your praise and urge you follow your ways. Each of you will return in a positive voice.
Oh, wow.
Thank you for sharing so much. Blessed be. Messages are received in all kinds of ways. We all have a very unique path, and we always have a very unique way of receiving things. And Josh tends to do it very poetically and beautifully. So it's fun to have his messages shared. But sometimes they're not that. They're just pictures, images, shapes, anything that you got. So anyone else in the congregation or visitors got something they'd like to share or talk about or ask about? Jim?
My two guides came to me, and they locked arms with me on each side of me, and we just went through a whole gambit of just everything. It was sky and earth and stars and colors and lightning, and when we stopped, I was by myself, and I was standing in front of the table with just a small bud vase in it with one white rose in it. And that's where they left me.
I like that. That kind of speaks to me. No, really, like it does. Like they took you through all of these elements and aspects of the universe and brought you back to a single white bloom. That's like cleansing and empowering with the energy of the divine and Mother Nature and starting over pure. This is how we cycle.
Thursday, Jeannie took me to the hospital, and I spent 2 days in the hospital, and so I had plenty of time to meditate.
Way to focus on the positive, Jim.
Ever since, ever since I carry this little pyramid of lapis, and when I meditate with this, boy, I get some really strong stuff.
Crystal meditation is fun. That extra energy helps push you in one way or another. Thank you for sharing that with us, Jim. That was beautiful. Makes me feel good that that's what's going on for you right now, because it was also a beautiful image that Spirit sent your way. So thank you for sharing with us, and graciousness for the blessing that it means to you.